They used to call him a thief, but that was before the fire. Tavi had spent most of his 16 years slipping through alleys and marketplaces, fingers fast, heart faster. The city of Naruk had no space for orphans except in shadows, and Tavi had made those his home. One night, while running from a butcher whose coin pouch he'd lifted, he ducked into the ruins near the edge of the city. Old stone swallowed by sand, forgotten by name. He hid there, breathing dust and fear, until his eyes caught a glint half buried in the ground. It was warm, smooth and red and orange like thick syrup in light, with sharp points and angles. The shard glowed in his palm. He tucked it into his coat and left without thinking twice. But that night, while the shard rested near his cot, he dreamed of fire. He was standing in a stone courtyard, not his own memory. Above him, banners burned, soldiers screamed. The air was heavy with smoke and fear. He woke suddenly with ash on his breath. The shard, Emberglass, the old priest would later call it, remembered fire. Not just its heat, but the moment it was born, the emotion it carried, the meaning behind the burn, and if thrown with intent, it would bring that fire back, exactly as it was. Tavi learned to use it, for coin, for power, for the grief of others. A woman paid him to see her wedding pyres recreated again. A noble paid more to witness the fire that consumed his brother's rebellion. But nothing paid like war. A commander came, rich, desperate, his army bruised and hungry. "I want the fire from the siege of Kari," he said. "The rebels burned our temple. Bring it back. Let them feel what they gave us." Tavi hesitated. That fire had come to him in dreams. It had screamed. It had begged. The emberglass sitting at the bottom of his pocket began to emanate heat as the commander spoke. But the pouch of coin was heavy, and Tavi was tired of being small. He stood on a ridge overlooking the enemy camp, held the shard, whispered its name, and threw. The fire that cascaded was not new. It was a memory, perfect, clinical, merciless. It roared with betrayal. It moved like grief. It knew exactly where to go. The fire erupted in a cacophony of large plumes of orange and red. Tents, faces, altars. It remembered. By the time the fire died down, there was nothing left but silence and the stink of loss. The air reeked of the distinct smell of burnt hair and flesh. Patches of smoke tattered the charcoal field. Tavi stood over the blackened earth, arms limp at his sides. He didn't speak for days. The commander tried to give him more coin. Tavi simply dropped it in the sand and walked away. He walked east, past the ruins, beyond the reach of war. He spent the rest of his years building a garden over the ruins. He planted trees with silver-veined leaves that rustled like paper prayers. Vines crept across the broken stone, weaving through scorch marks too deep to scrub away. Wildflowers grew where tents once stood. And at the garden's center, he found a small patch of earth and buried the cursed emberglass deep into the earth. It whispered ominous tongues in a crescendo as Tavi covered its fading glow with soil. Then there was silence. He then placed a single iron vessel on top of it. Once a year, on the morning the fire had returned, he knelt beside it, struck flint to wick, and lit a candle in the vessel. Just a thin, flickering flame. He watched it burn, quietly, completely. Not to remember the fire, but to remember what fire remembers. The sound of names spoken for the last time, the warmth of a farewell kiss, the silence that follows after a scream, the way light lingers, even when it has no one left to touch.